Well, we've looked at character-based operations, numeric-based operations, date and time operations. So we've looked at a lot of different data types that Postgres handles. What we're going to do now is we're going to look at spatial operations. And remember, I want us to be thinking of the idea that spatial is just another data type inside of Postgres, just like an integer, and just like a date, and just like a numeric field, and just like uh, a character field, a text-based field. They're all different data types that are in the database, and we can manipulate them and do all kinds of different things with them. So just like we add numbers together and we trim strings, we do things with spatial operations like creating buffers or looking at containment. Does one object contain another one? Do different objects intersect? Or what's the relationship in terms of distance between objects? So in this case, spatial data is just another data type, like we've been saying, just like integers or text strings or numeric values, but they do in fact have uh, operations that we can perform on them. So we look at this first query that I'll copy, and then I'm going to put it into the DB manager. And let's bring up QGIS. Okay, so here's the database manager. So I want to select tcparcel.star, so everything from tcparcel, from the parcels and the school districts. And we also have the school district. So I'm going to actually select from two different tables, but I'm only going to select the parcels from TC Parcel, Tompkins County Parcel. But here's my where clause. We've talked about that before too. So where ST intersects. And here if we look at ST intersects, it's requesting that I pass two geometries into the ST intersects function, and it returns a Boolean. In other words, is it true or not? Does this actually intersect? So in this case, that is one of my clauses, or for the where clause. Another one is I want the school district to be equal to Lansing. So what it's really asking is, do those property parcels that are in the Lansing school district, do they do those property parcels intersect a polygon in the school districts layer that is the school district of Lansing? So if we look in here again, let's bring in our school districts because we don't have them in here. So we go to Database, DB Manager, and let's bring in school districts. I'll just take that, drag it in, and now you can see the different school districts. So let's zoom all the way out again. So clicking here, this one is Groton Central School District. This one is Trumansburg, and now this one here is the Lansing Central School District. So we go back to our query from before, and I want to find the school district that's in Lansing and then all the parcels that intersect, and I'm going to return back the school districts. And you know what? Let's do this. School districts dot district. So I want to get all the properties information as well as the school district name. So let's execute this. That's done. And then let's load it. There we go. And you can see the property parcel. So this is that query result. So all of these properties are parcels that are intersecting the Lansing School District that we see here in this polygon. Now if we come in here, let's query this, get some information. So this is the information about the property parcel. That's all of it. And then we come down to the very end, and I have the district equal to Lansing. Why do we have that? Because I asked for that district to also be included in the result query. And let's grab one more. So this is a little different than intersect. This is intersection. So we'll come in here, and I'm going to say I want to intersect the parcels, the geometry field, and the flood zone geometry field. And again, the reason for that is the intersection, let's change this up here. Intersection requires two different geometries again, and it's going to perform an intersection. Here you can look through the help file. It'll tell you a little bit more about what's actually happening there. But I've got a couple of conditions where the flood zone is AE, so I want the AE flood zones, and they actually intersect one another. So I'm going to perform an intersection. Let's see what this is actually going to do. And now it's running, and that just took 2.39 seconds. And what I can do here is say, let's load that. And we'll open up Postgres. And here I created that as a different layer called query result 3. So let's turn this on. So now we see a couple little slivery things in here. Why don't we take a look at one of them? And let's go right in here. And we'll give it a second. So you can see the parcels that are in here for the query result. And let's take a look at the flood zones. Let's turn off the school districts. Let's turn off that. And what we see now are the flood zones, but these flood zones have different codes to them. So let's change the flood zone symbology for a moment. Let's just come in here and double click. And let's make this a categorized based on the zone. We don't actually have to go through all this, but I did want to just do this so that we could see what's going to happen. So when I hit classify, I get A, AE, and X500, and we'll keep it with those colors. That's actually fine. Hit OK. All right, let's turn the query results off. Now, this blue is the AE flood zone, as you can see. If you think about our query, I wanted the AE flood zone. And then if we zoom in a little bit, let's put this query 3 in, you can see what we're actually doing is intersecting the parcels. Let's slide these up with the flood zone. So notice this parcel here. Let's select it. Oops, got the wrong one. Let's go to the parcels again. So look at this parcel. It's one big property parcel. But what we've done now is we've actually clipped it with the blue AE flood zone. Again, we'll turn the parcels off. So you can see this blue area and the query result. And notice how that parcel gets clipped to be with the intersection of the flood zone. So just remember, this whole section was about SQL data types. So naturally, we didn't take a deep dive. I just wanted you to see what can be done with numeric, Boolean, character. We didn't really cover binary here, but date and time and geometry. And we looked at some monetary values when we turned numeric values into money. So there are different types of operations for different data types. What we're going to do next is we're going to jump in and take a much deeper dive into the SQL syntax for traditional SQL, and then we're going to take a very deep dive into the SQL syntax for spatial constructs.